guys, so today I kind of wanted to talk about memory keeping. It's a topic I think about quite a bit. I feel like, I don't know if it's just because I'm a mom or if I just see this as my role, is kind of just to document the memories in our family. And one of the things that's making me think of this more recently is I am doing my best this year to catch up on memory keeping. I will talk about kind of how I've done it previously, how I'm doing it now to get caught up. I think at the end of last year, I think had been caught up to 2015, 2014, like severely behind in my memory keeping. And I like memory keeping because it's fun to tell the kids stories of things that happened when they were younger. And I feel like I'm a bit of a historian for our family in that way. And as much as in the time you feel like, oh, I'll remember this, the fact is you forget. The days feel so long in the moment, but the years just fly by, and all of a sudden you're years behind in your memory keeping and your kids have grown up and you've forgotten a bunch of the little things. Now, that is not to say that if you don't document everything, it won't be remembered, or in some ways, memory keeping does not matter. When I look back into the photos that I have from my childhood, there are hardly any in comparison to how many my kids have. There's almost no pictures of me with my mom or of my mom in general because she was always behind the camera. And like, does that make my childhood any less amazing? No. But I still wish I had more pictures of her, and it would be cool to have more pictures of me as a kid and maybe something more than just pictures. And so that's kind of where this is coming from today, as I'm in this bit of a scramble to catch up so I don't perpetually stay years behind. I've kind of been thinking about this a lot. So I have a bunch of different ways that I have done memory keeping in the past and ways I kind of want to go in the future. And some of them are photo specific, some of them are video specific, and then there's kind of like a generic section. So let's start with photos. So historically, what I did to begin with is photo books. I also kind of did these as a batch. I did it like 2 different batches, did a couple of years worth. But I really like these photo books. These particular ones are from Blurb. I haven't ordered from here in years, but I was impressed with the quality. It was good. I like the size of these albums. I think they're like, this must be 8 by 10 or something like that. I like that I could choose the format. I'm a little bit OCD when it comes to photos because I used to be a photographer. A lot of different photo book companies, you can kind of just auto-generate it and it will put the pictures in for you. And I want to have control. I want to choose which pictures are going to be bigger and which ones are going to be smaller. And so I like that. I like being able to design my own spreads. But photo books take quite a bit of time. So I have a number of years of photo books. Usually I just did 1 a year. Some years I did 2. The year we adopted Ephraim, I did a whole separate album for November and December because that's when we were in South Africa and came home with him. And I tried to fit a lot of pictures per page because it was a very special, unique time in our lives. And there was just so many pictures I had troubles choosing between, so I just kind of put them all in. And I love the photo books. Honestly, I would love to continue with the photo books, but when it came to trying to catch up from these last few years, I got overwhelmed. And so I went back to kind of like the old school photo album route. Now, the thing is, I went with like big photo albums. 400 pictures, I think, fit in these particular albums. If possible, I'll leave these linked below. They're not like super special or anything, but it fits 5 pictures per page. And I do like that. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the size because these aren't just as easy to grab out and flip through, but at least it's something. And I found, because I was doing photos from this particular album is 2016. I'm pretty sure I did 2015. I'm not confident on that though. I found it harder to pick pictures because it's like, oh, they were so little, and they're not so little anymore. So I wanted to order every single picture, and I believe this album holds 400 pictures, and some of these pictures have a couple pictures behind there because I printed out more than the 400. So while the photo album is not my favorite format, especially when it's so big, I went and I put the year on the cover as well. It is better than nothing. So yeah, I still kind of wish I had these in photo book format, but at least I have pictures printed out. This year I do plan on continuing with the photo album format, but I have reminders for myself to be printing out pictures each quarter. So at the beginning of April, and then 4 months after that, or 3 months after that, 3 months after that, and 3 months after that, until the end of the year, beginning of January, I'm going to print off pictures from that quarter. And that way I'm not, hopefully not going to be like super emotionally invested in the pictures. So I won't have to order a ton. And so I still will be able to have memories from this year, but it won't be as overwhelming. So I guess I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to go the photo album route or the photo book route. That remains to be seen, but I'm going to, whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm going to be working on it quarterly so it's not overwhelming. I still have a few years of actual photo books to catch up on. I have printed out photos for 2018 and 2019, and then have to print out photos for 2020 and 2021. So I'm getting closer than I was at the beginning of the year at least. One way that we kind of, I don't know if this isn't really memory keeping in some ways, but we have an Amazon Prime membership, and with that we get access to Amazon Photos. And so I have it set up on my phone that each day when I plug my phone in, it automatically uploads photos from the albums on my phone that I've chosen. So because I pretty much almost exclusively take pictures with my phone, I do a bit with my camera, but mostly exclusively with my phone, then it automatically uploads them. And every morning I have fun opening up the app because it says photos from this day, and then you can see photos from this day years before, and it can be so fun. I would love to put this picture up, but I can't. But yesterday it was a picture of BB-8. So this would have been like a month after we got her last year, and she was so rolly, and seeing that memory now, it just cracked me up. So I love doing that each morning, opening it up, seeing what pictures I took on this day from the previous years. So it doesn't help in the way that like it's not getting the photos off of my phone, but it is a really good like memory reminder. And that often sparks conversations with the kids too. It'll be like, oh, look what we were doing this day 3 years ago or whatever. And then we actually did this yesterday as well. The picture from a year or two before was my daughter playing Oregon Trail, and she's like, I want to do that again. So yesterday morning she played Oregon Trail, and those photos will pop up next year, and I bet you she'll want to play it again. So it's fun. It kind of leads us down a bit of a rabbit trail each time. And then another thing that I've done in the past is some kind of like artsy, like we're talking like scrapbooking or project life or that kind of documentation. I have historically struggled with it a bit though, because you need the photos printed in order to really go from there. Project Life was easier because it's kind of it's like baseball cards in some ways. If you haven't seen the system, you get a page protector that's broken up into different sections, sizes, and you can put different things in the spots. I liked it because I could put, if we went to a restaurant, let's say, I could put the menu from the restaurant in there, and it was a way of kind of like keeping it all separate. If I also wanted to print a picture from that restaurant, I could have wrote a little note to myself like put picture here, and I knew what was going to go there. But with scrapbooking, so often you need all your pictures kind of in order to go forward, and I struggled with that. And it just took too long, and so I was kind of perpetually falling behind. I liked Project Life for the little bit of time that I did it, but once again, the album was really large. It was, I think this is probably like 12 by 12, and I think it was the same size, but my binder was getting pretty thick, and that was 1 year. There's also like the Happy Planner has the same general idea, and I think there's something called Memory Keeping now as some kind of new system. I don't really know. I like those ideas, the idea of it, but I was really bad at keeping up with those. So if you're interested in that kind of idea, it might be something worth looking into, but I find it didn't really work for me. Okay, let's talk video for a little bit here. So I've mentioned before, something that I've been doing in regards to my like book part of my life is using the 1 second a day app. And you can use this app for other things. It doesn't have to be books. And I could do the same, record a little snippet of my day. I have actually done this historically although I don't know what happened to those videos. There's a something to think about. So what I am doing right now is I'm taking a snapshot kind of usually of the book that I'm reading. Sometimes it's like a walk that I go on or a puzzle I'm doing, and then you put it into the 1 second a day app, and then at the end of the month I mash it together and put it up on Instagram. So you could do that kind of thing for any part of your life. You could do, you know, if you like knitting, you could do your knitting project. You could do one for each kid, or just some kind of like family thing you do together. And I take my videos for that vertically because I put them on Instagram, so they work for the reel size, but you can do it horizontally as well, so it works more for regular video format. Yeah, and I did mention this in my, I think it was February favorites that I mentioned the 1 second a day app, and I'm still thinking about buying the full version. It's like $60 a year. It feels a little bit much, but it would be kind of cool to be able to have other timelines going, so I could have a different one for different areas of my life, or I could just do it myself. And that is kind of leading into my other thing, is just general video format. You could take short videos every day or every few days and then just edit them together. And you could either mute it all and put it to music, or you could just leave the audio there and maybe have like a little bit of music kind of in the background, because it's amazing, especially as your kids get older, you forget their cute little voices. And we have a couple videos that we have not stored very well that I'll talk about kind of shortly, but where we have Reika when she was like 3, she's like prancing around and she's like, I'm a mermaid and I can fly because I have this on, and it's like wings or whatever, but like this little high-pitched voice, and she's talking about how she's a mermaid and she can fly. Like, she totally mixed that up, and we always quote that in our house. And then we have like these cute little pictures of Ephraim singing a song with like these little actions and different things. So we often quote these little snippets of video that we have. So that'd be cool to just, I don't know, like monthly or quarterly make that into a video. And then kind of my other thing is YouTube. So I have a like private YouTube channel where I have uploaded some personal videos. They're all private, no one can see it. And I would like to get better at quarterly getting a bunch of our videos together, putting them together, and then uploading them into like a playlist, let's say like a 2022 playlist. And then we've got our one video from quarter 1, from January, February, March, of all the short little video clips or something. That's what I would like to do. I have not been that organized. I would love to go back and do that for our old videos. We have old videos everywhere though, like stored in different places, so it's a little bit daunting. It's something I wish I would have started and continued right from the beginning, but it doesn't hurt to start now. I just need to remind myself of that. So I think that covers photos mostly, that covers video. The other section here is just kind of other memory keeping things. So one thing I've been doing for the past, I think it's 3 years now, is I keep a line a day journal. So I originally had bought a journal, and then it kind of started falling apart. So I ended up making my own, and I keep it in a binder. And it's just every day I write down a few lines of something that happened that day. I like to document random little kid quotes. Sometimes it's really boring and it's just like, oh, I filmed a video today and edited it. And that seems boring in the time, but the journal that I've made, the mother's journal that I've made, it has 8 years worth of memories. So you look back, like, let's say even 6 years from now, I'm looking back to what I did today, and it's like, oh, that was cool. I didn't remember that I did that, or like, that's unique now because I don't do that in this stage of life or whatever. So I think even the boring days will be interesting, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now. Yeah, that's crazy to think of, that I'll still be using that journal. Well, I guess it'll be 7 years from now, but like for 8 years, because my family life will change so much in that time because my kids are going to be growing so much. And one of the things I like to document is geese. So just in my line a day for yesterday, I wrote that we saw our first goose. It was one random lone goose. It seems very early for geese to be coming, but I like to document when I see them coming this way and when I see them flying south in the fall, because it's kind of like those signs of spring and those signs of winter coming. So I document all sorts of random, mostly boring, trivial things, but sometimes it's big. Sometimes it's like, oh, this foster kid came, or this foster kid left, or, you know, and even the little things are interesting years from now. Okay, I have 2 more things that are kind of mostly in the generic thing. The one maybe could have been under the photo section. The first next one that I'll mention is a travel journal. So I don't know if I keep talking about us wanting to go to England in the fall. I don't know if it will happen. I think it very well could if we don't have any foster kids, but like that's 6 months away from now, and do I know what's going to be going on with my life then? No. But if we are going, my plan is to give each of the kids a little notebook, and I want to buy one of those, I think they're like inkless photo printer things, because each of my kids have like old phones of mine that they use for pictures. So they will be taking these phones along to take pictures, and then we can just all hook up to the same printer and print out photos as we go. I think they're like, how big would they be? 2 inches by 3 inches, something small. So it would work really well for a travel journal. And then you paste in like maps or ticket stubs or all sorts of different things that you come across in your travels. And then I want to get the kids to each kind of write a little bit of a journal entry each day. I think that will be such a good keepsake. Yeah, so I really hope we can go just because I want to go, but also, okay, he's just like stomping around up there. I also think that it would just be such a treasure to have that. So it's something I hope to do. I'll get the kids to do it, and I want to do it as well. Okay, and then the last idea that I have is kind of something that I have done, and I didn't really realize that I was doing this, that it was going to be a memory keeping thing, and that is to keep a blog. So I started my homeschool blog, and I've been blogging in a different format for years, just kind of like more of a personal blog, and those have turned out to be such great memory keepers. I don't know if I will ever like print them off, but they're there on the internet. Like as long as I pay for them, they're there, and I can print them out if I want. And it's really cool to look back to see what we were doing in our homeschool a few years ago, or even I've documented some of our travels on my personal blog, or the different things that God has been teaching me. So I like having those there, even if they never actually become a physical thing. It's something I can look back on. And even when I was an au pair in England, this was like, well, I mean, blogging was probably a thing back in 2004, but this was like the first kind of blog thing. It was very MySpacey, and I kept a photo and word journal from that time on this random website, and you can still find it. And every now and then I look back and I read it, and I was like, whew, this is written like an 18-year-old, but it's cool to see the pictures and read some of my sense of humor from back then. So every now and then I'm like, when I mention it, I feel like maybe I should link it so people could see it, and then I'm like, no, it's too embarrassing. But it is kind of cool to know that it's still out there. Okay, so I think that kind of sums up how I have / am / hope to do memory keeping with our family. And I would love to hear your different ideas, what you do. I like having memories documented, but it can be overwhelming. So if I can like streamline some things or pull in some different ideas from people, please leave some comments below, because I would love to do that. As of right now, I think my favorite things are photo books or photo albums, however it actually happens. My line a day, and then my 1 second a day, which I also want to incorporate more of my home life stuff kind of in that kind of format. I think those are really cool. So leave your ideas in the comments below, and thanks for watching, guys.